Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Frank, your host here at the Emerald Scale, official YouTube home for Emerald Scale Exotics. And today I'm going to bring you a clip about homemade, do-it-yourself reptile foggers. So I'm sure all of you have seen high humidity setups with different reptiles ranging from anything from an emerald tree boa all the way down to salamanders and frogs and everything in between. And I'm sure everybody out there has seen the great products that they offer in our industry. The name one being Reptifogger. Well, I have come up with a much simpler method, and it's pretty much just as effective. So let me go ahead and explain what I'm actually showing you guys here today. Before I actually break down the components and everything, which, I mean, you can see for yourself, it's pretty easy, self-explanatory, but I want to let you guys know that, of course, if you can afford something like a Reptifogger, why not? Unfortunately, for many of you who may be like me and are trying to do the best and most proper things for your animals, but at a reduced rate, this is the way you go. And it's just a little bit of elbow grease, can actually save you quite a bit of money. If I'm not mistaken, Reptifoggers run about $129 or so, and that's like on sale. Sometimes you can get them for $100. I do believe at the expos and whatnot, you can get them for like $79.99, somewhere around there. But yeah, I mean, that's still, it's not a big hit, but it's something I'd rather save on. So let me go ahead and break this down for you guys really quick. This is a $1 jar. Got it from my local dollar store. I'm sure you guys can find all kinds of jars like this from any dollar store near you, or any small hardware type store. They'll definitely have these things. And if you see the lid here, it's not your typical jar where the lid it just screws on. You actually have to get a jar that has a rubber lip on it. The reason why I say you need a rubber lip is if you just screw this on as a regular jar, like a mayonnaise jar or anything of that nature, it will not get as effectively airtight. So get a jar with the rubber lip. There's also jars with clamps on them that don't necessarily screw in, but they also have rubber lips and they clamp down and they create a very effective seal. You want to get a jar with the rubber lip, so I'm pretty sure I've made that clear. Screw that down, and then you can use a soldering iron or a properly sized drill bit and make 2 holes or 3 in the top of the lid. What you want to do is have one small hole, and you want to have a good length of airline tubing. This airline tubing here, it's the standard airline tubing for any fish aquarium. Go ahead and buy 1 or 2 spools of that. They usually come about 8 feet for $1 or $2. No, like $2 or $3 now. I'm sorry. It's been a while, and I've had this stuff laying around. So I've been into all kinds of animals, as you guys know. So I have tons of things left over. And go ahead and connect an air pump to the tubing and stick the tube through one of your holes into the jar. And then you want to go ahead and silicone seal it. That way it just stays nice and firm. There's no leaks. Because leaks will cause you a big headache as well. So you don't want to have any of that. As the fog builds and the condensation in here, as the air pressurizes, you will have a lot of that coming up out of there if you don't seal it. So to avoid spillage and just, you know, your tubes getting clogged up, go ahead and seal it. It makes it a lot better and easier. Then you want to run through, I just made 2 holes. I used my soldering iron, so it's kind of lopsided. If you use a drill bit, it'll be a lot cleaner. You can actually size it to your tubes and your wires and whatnot, and it'll actually be probably a little more effective, or cleaner looking anyways. But yeah, you know, I just went ahead and used soldering iron, and I made a second hole here for my electrical source. This is my fog outlet tube actually. It's I think like a 1/2 inch or bigger. Yeah, like a 1/2 inch tube. And I got this one from Home Depot. You can get those for about, I think it's like $1 or 79 cents a foot. So I mean, once again, for tubing you're probably gonna run about $3 to $5. Jar's $1. And then you have this little apparatus here. Oh yeah, and your air pump there as well. I just happen to have mine left over from quite a while ago. I have a few. Back in the day they cost about $12 for a nice big one like that. I think nowadays you're probably looking at about maybe more close to 20. I'm sure you can find better deals online. Just go ahead and look. Like a 30 or 60 gallon air pump should suffice, depending on how much fog you actually want to distribute. I'm using a 30 gallon right now, and it's actually working for 2 different enclosures. So I have this fog outlet here, and I decided to add a secondary one for a smaller enclosure for my Pac-Man frog. You see here, it's just more standard airline tubing. Now these two go in together, and what I've done on the bottom here is cut holes into the inside, which I'm actually going to go in and cut slits with scissors to kind of shred the ends of those tubes, because if you see how the condensation builds, it actually goes up the tube and it can clog it, so then you don't get as effective a vapor coming out. So to reduce that, you want to get holes in here or cut slits. That way when the water builds up, it actually kind of seeps out and it drips right back into the water. Or if you can get it to somehow go in and stay touching the glass, that's even better. You won't have to do any of the hole stuff, because as you see it bouncing up and down, when it touches the glass, it just drips right down. So that's much easier. I recommend doing it that way. And then of course, once all the tubes are in place, I went ahead and sealed that. And this apparatus here ran me, it'll normally cost you about $20. It ran me $15 only because I got a deal for buying more than 2. So that apparatus is actually a fogger for one of those aromatherapy fountains that they have, and I got it in my local swap meet. I'm here in the SoCal area. I got it at the Rhodium swap meet over in Torrance off Redondo Beach Boulevard, the 405. So go ahead and Google that if you guys are out here in SoCal. There's a man who vends those fountains, and he's actually near the center of the swap meet where the restrooms and like the little restaurant is. He's right there across from the lady who sells weapons and whatnot, whom actually I'm getting my crossbow from. Incredible crossbow, really cheap. Get into that another time. But he has these little fountain things. He went ahead and ordered these up just for me and an ex-acquaintance, and we went ahead and bought these with a big group package. So getting more than one, he bought it down to $15 a pop. So it's not bad. I mean, it's like $7.50 for the charger and $7.50 for the actual fogger itself. And what it is, it's a subsonic fogger, so it uses, I guess, sound to go ahead and create this fog, and it has to be at a certain depth. The deeper it is, the less fog you get. It doesn't really matter the volume of water. I mean, you can have it in a drawer right here full of water. It matters the depth though, and it'll still create a ton of fog. Of course, the more water, like wider volume that you have, the longer it's going to take for this water level to go down, and then you'll have to refill. But you know, either way, this works for me, and I'm sure it can work for you. So this thing was $15. Add 15 to probably, I'm sure you can get these used or something, or appropriately priced at about $10-12. Then you're looking at an odd $3 for tubing, and your dollar here, you're looking at about $30 to $35 total to make an effective fogger. And let me go ahead and show you guys here how I did that. This is my Pac-Man frog's large critter keeper, and you see my exit tube there? Completely foggy. But I don't have anything covering it, so this one actually airs out better. I found that he doesn't really like it super foggy, but he does like a nice thin layer of mist down there, and he has it. So you see that. And over here is my Exoterra. Let me go ahead and get out of the glare there. This tank I initially had my Pac-Man frog in, but since I went ahead and got back my crested toad, I put him in here since he's more active. And you can see the plants in there. I took out the log because I didn't want to deal with mold. I have to bake that and treat it to make sure it doesn't mold up, because it will mold. So got that. Got his this stuff is Beta Beast, I believe. It's the cocoa fiber stuff, but it's got the little chunks. I'm not sure what they are, but I know it helps aerate the soil here, and it keeps it actually a little less wet, so it dries up a little faster. Got that in there. Got his. I use this hide still, so we have the pottery in there. He kind of jumps on top. Doesn't really go in it too much right now. He's sitting over there. So like most frogs, he's just a bump on a log. I know you can't really see him. Well, and actually the light doesn't help with that much fog, but if I open it, you guys will see how effective it is. I have the tube running up here. The whole thing is covered with towel, and then the tube runs in, fog spills out, and it fills it up quite nicely, guys. So yeah, that is that. And just so you guys get the idea, homemade, do-it-yourself Reptifogger, no problems whatsoever. And one last key point before I go. Please, 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 guys, make sure if you're doing this with amphibians, and even with reptiles, I do recommend always using purified water, or go ahead and get some ReptiSafe. That will do wonders for your animals. That will dechlorinate your water, and it will avoid them from dying because of those chemicals being ingested. It's fine for humans in those small trace elements, but for smaller animals, and especially for amphibians like frogs that absorb virtually everything through their skin, you do not want to give them that, as it can pretty much permeate straight into the body and into vital organs and cause some major problems. And that's my understanding of it. I'm sure there's other reasons and other ways it kills them. Just, guys, take a moment, get a $3 bottle of water purifier. You can get it from any local fish store. It doesn't have to be the Reptile one, because it's usually a little overpriced just because it says Reptile Safe or whatever. Same thing. It does the same thing. Dechlorinates the water and removes ammonia. Go ahead and put that in there. Let your water run, treat, and you're good to go. And it creates a nice cool mist. Thank you folks for watching. I hope you've gained some info from that. You can see it fogging up real nice. And yeah, this has been Frank once again. Thank you for tuning in here to Emerald Scale Exotics official YouTube home / the Emerald Scale. Happy herping, folks.